So my name is Jon Bloch, and I'm executive producer at 4A Games.
John, what are you showing new here with Metro Exodus?
So at Gamescom this year, we're showing off one of our new environments. We call it the Taiga. It takes place in a forest environment, thousands of kilometers away from Moscow. It takes place during autumn. It's one of the four seasons that we're showing off throughout the course of the game, and it's kind of a hybrid environment between that new open sandbox style gameplay and the more linear, classic Metro style levels that players are used to from the previous games.
What did it open up for your team creatively to have access to all these different seasons and biomes? Because Metro takes place underground or like a really rural, snowy, cold areas.
Now we really get to show all these different environments and different times of the year, and we're bringing color into the world that we've never really done before. Everything before was all these like white and gray palettes of a post-apocalyptic winter, these like gray Russian winters was always kind of the colorscape for the games in the past, and so this really lets our artists kind of stretch their legs, and everyone on the team really gets to do something new this time, and it's kind of one of the things that motivated us to go in this direction.
Talk about what your team has learned from past Metro games and what they've applied and improved upon in Metro Exodus.
In adding these open environments, we had to overhaul a lot of systems in order to support the freedom that these open environments bring. And in that process, we also were able to apply a lot of the things that we've learned in the past about what worked well and what didn't really work so well. We really wanted to build on a lot of these systems. We didn't want to remove anything, especially the things that kind of define Metro as in its own unique space. But I think that we had a lot of opportunity in upgrading and adding to these systems to really apply those learnings. And one of the cool things about this whole experience is that we also get to tap into experience from the team members from before we were working on the Metro games. Our core team worked at GSC Game World back in the day on Stalker, and so bringing a lot of things that were learned back then from a purely open world game, and how to integrate these more open sandbox style environments and the gameplay into the Metro formula, while still making sure that the game feels like Metro.
A lot of games take place in in their own little fantasy world or in like the United States. What does having the Metro series take place in Europe open up for your team?
Well, I think there's certainly elements of familiarity for the team itself. The majority of the team is from the same kind of region. The team, having started in Ukraine, they're very familiar with this Eastern European. The setting, the atmosphere, all the buildings, the locations, all these sorts of things. There's a unique familiarity to it that I think definitely shows through in the level of detail and care, to the atmosphere and the level of immersion that players experience when they play the game.
Can you talk about some of the new enemies we'll face in Metro Exodus?
So when you're moving around in the Moscow metro system, there's all these various different mutants that live there, and all the humans and all their factions that have grown from the society that's been built within the Moscow metro system. Now, leaving that, the types of humans that you're going to come across along your journey are going to be completely different. Different societies that grew up outside of the city, out in the wilderness, maybe different ideologies, different ways of life that they've built for themselves, and also when you come across a different landscape, a different type of environment, you're going to see different animals and creatures as well. So we took a look at what sorts of things would have lived in these environments before, and kind of imagined what this radiation and mutation effects would have on those creatures living there, and what they might become. There will be a lot of familiar mutants and monsters returning, but we've introduced a few new ones that kind of make sense in their own environment.
Game development and technology usually go hand in hand. NVIDIA just announced their 280 Ti. Does that open anything up for the studio for Metro at all, or is it like way too early for it for you guys to have access to that stuff?
So we actually have a pretty close working relationship with NVIDIA. We have had a great relationship with them, for many years, and so we actually were working with them to implement this RTX technology into Metro Exodus, and along with their announcement of their cards, we announced that we have implemented a true real-time ray-traced global illumination into Metro Exodus, and it really speaks to the technology-forward mentality that we have at 4A Games, really always trying to push the envelope for our proprietary engine being at the high end of modern technology, and really pushing that envelope as far as we can always push it.